as Mr. Britt stated in his email, there's no expectation of privacy in a public building.
Mikey, what's happening?
How you doing, Ken?
I'm well, thank you. Appreciate your help with that matter, though. We're so well on that budget.
No big deal. We'll let the important people sit close to you guys. Not a problem.
Yeah, that was rather odd, you know, that Mario, that one. It's like, we could have had a third, you know? Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's okay. I don't understand lawyers sometimes, you know, that's what you got paid for to do, you know. It's not a big deal to release a judgment.
You wouldn't think they'd collect a third, you know?
Right.
$1 million.
Hey, this is Randy.
Sometimes you can't even give money away.
I know. I'm glad we just.
Hey, are you in the office?
Everything good for you?
Yep.
Well, we don't have a
Nothing to
board
complain
member
over.
here yet, but we got 7 minutes, so, I just calling to see if we,
No, I have 3 other lawyers. I work with in that
Okay.
office, and then we still have a half a dozen Elkhart.
Oh.
They're still around town, as you know. Yeah, Jamie went on to greener pastures, I guess.
Right.
Wanted to be a judge, which is fine. I have no interest, but apparently Hostetler did, and apparently Jamie did, because they both left, so. Must be something about me, they can't stand me more than 20 years.
Oh, only 20 years now?
Yeah. It's a little slower pace. I mean, the judges work, but at the same time, they can set their own schedule, so. I have to clamor for clients, I guess. But I would have, I don't know, it's not that easy. I know he just did a jury trial, because I had lunch with him the other day, and I would not enjoy that. A lot of divorce work, too, for the Superior Court judges.
Really?
Probably half that docket is, you know, domestic work, so.
Really? State and community?
Hard to believe, yeah, hard to believe. You can have that.
Was he here?
yeah, Frank's coming out and turning his email on,
That was Derek texting me that he's in a meeting on 10, that he can't walk out, and on 7, that he can't walk out yet, but he's in the building. Raphael's on the way.
Raphael's always late.
Yeah,
He's never.
we had 6. So Derek isn't here, the others show up.
Oh, you got 5 or 6 minutes yet, yeah.
Now, with Mike, with all the awards that you were told, the third that you represent, I find it unbelievable.
Mike.
Hey, Frank. It's,
Is that wrong?
yes, I think so. Although, you know who really shows up? Macon. I do some stuff for Macon.
Yeah,
They'll get, 15, 18 people to show up.
really.
But now they're all, political, well, no different than your group, really. They're all political appointees or elected officials, and they really do show up. Although, for the first time in years, they didn't have a quorum last month, so we couldn't have a meeting. But that's the first time that has happened in my recollection. Yeah, especially in the current world, because you can participate remotely now, so.
I just, over the 10 years of watching this struggle, I'm like, this can't be fun. Apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. Is there a commissioner meeting tomorrow?
Yeah.
Is that Andy's last meeting then?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. So his last day's
Friday, he's having a, from 2 to 4.
I saw
Here,
that,
okay.
yeah, I saw that. I'll try some.
I can't launch the Zoom until they're done with it upstairs. They have an executive session until 10 on the same account, which is where
Is that
Andy,
where the commissioners are?
yeah, all three of them are in
Yeah,
there.
because Derek texted me and said, yeah, the meeting was going along, I'm in the building, so.
Yes.
We're
They're
counting on the three of them.
three of them, and council member wise, I believe I saw Diana, Randy, Big, and Bobby Kett. Are any of them on solid waste?
Raphael is, but he's apparently on his way, so.
But yeah, the commissioners will be done when they're done with their executive session.
Oh, by the way, I started to respond to an email, and decided not to send an email to yours about that, those two things.
Uh-huh.
Those were brought up earlier this year in a meeting here, not officially, but, nobody wanted to do it. Andy left the charge, didn't want to
Yeah.
deal with them after the budget meetings last year with the council.
Uh-huh.
And it was repeatedly said that no one can even justify charging those amounts. So, as far as I know, Frank, those things are just on hold until somebody,
Well, so I thought that everyone just agreed to maintain the status quo at 25.
well, that was kind of the case. However, given that it was repeatedly said, you can't even justify that amount, other than that's what Steve told me.
So you don't want, okay.
So at this
I mean, because
point,
we've had these resolutions on the
Yeah.
commissioner's side tabled until you take action, but, so I was asking if you were,
so, I mean, it wouldn't have been the only agenda for today, because there were too many other things that had to be done. But, it's something that can be brought up again, but we'll see after tomorrow's, we meet with them tomorrow, council.
okay. Did you pay the 25 this year? Or have we not
Maybe
paid
technically,
anything?
yeah.
Okay, so just without an
It's,
agreement. we paid
it's going
25.
forward now.
Okay. Okay, that works. So we can just remove those resolutions then, because we've been holding the numbers.
It could,
3 and
it
4.
could be until somebody can come up with an amount that they think is just, which would be low.
Because Dalton was arguing some of it was a pilot.
And that was already taken off the table because pilot can only do the things that, I pointed out at the meeting last year, actually, with them, that somebody mentioned the word pilot, and I said, I've got it right here from our attorney. And I said, there's one paragraph, one or two paragraphs, whatever it was, saying this is what it is and why it can't be, but then there's like 3 typed up pages of all the codes that show why it can't be. I said, but one thing it can be that nobody ever refers to pilot, one of the main ones is the airport authority. You want pilot, go after their money. Of course, that ended that part of the conversation,
Oh, sure.
so.
Yeah, I literally in no way care. I just need to know because we have those resolutions that have been set, and if we're not going to use those numbers this year, or for this.
Hey, Sheila,
Hi, Randy.
you're first, there's others in the building, but they're caught in meetings.
Then I had to talk to the clerk, so I don't hang my car.
We thought we did away with pilot, I did the year before. That brought up last year, yes. Hi,
Was your meeting done? Oh. Okay, you're not gonna have a forum though until the other two come down, so.
Amy's on his way, so he left with me too, because he got them.
That's the official.
That's official.
We should be told them.
Me and David switched vehicles today, and I'm like, I don't want them to.
Am I good to cut off the other meeting?
I could better make sure that they,
Remind Kara, she was gonna talk to Tanzarite and tell him that he was gonna get knocked off, so.
you want to sit here, I'll just move down one.
Limbo! So.
So, is this gonna make one hell of a?
Yes.
Hang
You're in a desperate cry for help from me.
Do we have enough people ready to get going now?
on.
Bill?
Two more.
Is Jared coming today? How many
Ralph's
do
on the
In
word.
theory, Derek is,
Derek is, the mayor was, Raphael.
but Derek is still, we're in a meeting that's on. So I assume
Yeah, he texted me that he
Is Mayor gonna be here?
was, they said he was.
That's the same thing I screwed up, helped my kids move back before Thanksgiving and it never healed, so.
Pretty cool basket.
Sometimes you just want to treat yourself. You know? So I got it for this back in November, so then I gave it to my granddaughter for her tricycle. And then she was less than thrilled that I had to borrow it back. So. Yeah. Well, so I mean, the good news is I had about a month of practice back. So this time around it was pretty easy. So it's just, and when I was completely non-weight bearing, so we have made the two resolutions. Let's see what they are. Right, so we got R3.
Oh, those are ones Mike and I.
Yeah, so we need to, what we should do there. Right. So did we pay this year's, 2020? That's what they were gonna, originally bump it up, but then he said, well, if you do it now, then you gotta come forward with an explanation for that. Right, so I guess if no, 50 cents all not, but if it's back to the 25, then it wasn't 4. I'd be looking at That's fine. That's fine. It's my last meeting, so I don't know, it doesn't matter. Okay, well, there you go, perfect.
Excellent. Not as good as you, I'm not retiring, but
That is,
from the county that is, that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I think you'd be one of the first. to-
All good things come to an end.
hey, Mayor.
Hey, good morning. Mr. Mayor, final days? Good to see you, yeah. My last Monday.
Oh, boy.
That's nice.
Got others in the building, we're waiting for them to get out.
It's okay. You'll have to send the sergeant at arms to go retrieve it.
We're having a meeting on building security, so they're all up there.
I noticed, last week when I came down here, that Harvey Jones. I hadn't seen him since the conference.
Oh,
What do you,
yeah. Yeah, he's talking about not just security.
did I ask him, he said, did you steal that uniform from somebody else? What do you?
He's still the president of our FOP, so. We give him a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's that. But physically he was.
Oh, yeah, no. It's good.
Should we, first look to,
Oh. Maybe December 23rd.
yeah.
Well, you might as well go up there, because we don't have,
Okay.
Can you tell if there's anyone waiting to get on, or you can't?
I can't get that.
So we could end up having someone who could make the quorum waiting on the supervisor.
Oh, wait, Kara's comment. Hello. I'm down on floor.
Is Frank our sergeant at arms?
Well, the problem is we have an ongoing.
He is now, he just doesn't know it.
We have a Zoom meeting going on, so we refrain from ending that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he just did.
This camera's perfect.
No, I don't think so.
I like
We gotta
this.
turn that your way.
Although my back side is not, back of my head isn't the best. Mother of pearl.
That's much better. That's much better. I like that.
Okay, so is Kara coming down? They're waiting out for him.
Yes, in theory, we could go through all I gotta do, you gotta require formal action. And treasurer's report doesn't require board action.
Okay.
Why is the,
You'll see it there on the table.
Do you want this recorded?
I think we have that.
Okay. But
assume there was no one waiting to.
there is not.
It's just that
Then Kara has communicated to Derek that his presence is needed for the forum.
You like.
We can do that.
Certainly can. They have that skill set.
I rushed to get here, I should have
Yeah,
known.
that's a pretty safe
We left at the
assumption.
same time because we knew we had to be here,
That's a
but I knew
safe
10 o'clock was here.
it's running a little behind, but yeah.
So I mean, we
Figured I was
could, if we wanted to go through.
right in between when I should be here and when I actually
Can we
was
go ahead and do
here.
that, Mike?
You
Just the
certainly can.
explanation stuff?
You certainly can.
All right, let's do the explanation stuff.
You want me to start recording
I don't think you need to record it.
any of the meeting or?
Nobody ever looks at them again anyway.
Okay.
Well, I guess I defer to our legal counsel. Counselor, or do you?
Never been done in the past, so
Good enough for me.
minutes are taken.
Once you start, you can't stop. Just know what you're getting into.
All right, so approval of minutes, we can't do yet.
Okay, well then I will leave you guys to your meeting and text me if an issue comes up with anything.
Okay,
So will we be,
Thanks, Frank.
in the event that someone would try and join, we just,
They should have automatically left.
okay, awesome,
There is, yeah, we don't have a waiting room, so.
that's fine.
They're able to do all of the
Yep.
things.
okay,
Great.
thanks, Frank.
Yep.
Will you go up and get Derek and have him come down?
So, take it away.
Huh?
I will remind him again.
Thank you.
John, I'm sure has written down who's here already. Approval, we cannot do treasurer's report. John Murphy was gonna be here. He called me earlier this morning. He was leaving the building out of an abundance of caution because he was around people that he just found out tested positive, so he was gonna get away from people for the day. I thanked him, but he did have, I'll just pass these out for people here. He did have these brought down, sent down here to us. Financial stuff for the district. His email to me said, you know, everything's healthy, everything's good. I don't, you know, I just saw this morning, so I don't know if John can go through the stuff that,
What he has there is, what I send out every month is a monthly, what did we do with our money? What he did was about 6 years of what we did with our money. So there's graphs, there's pie charts. I had a quick glance at it. I mean, it's all basically saying the same thing. We're flush at this point in time.
Don't use that word.
Yeah. We're doing well.
We are well situated,
Yeah.
yes.
We are on
situated.
solid ground, the Southeast
Yes.
Management District. Some of the things in my monthly reports, if you want to notice, is we did get our disbursement in, from the county, from the taxes in June. So we got, the curbside income was $1,000,003, and the household hazardous waste income was $379,000. Very consistent with what we've gotten over the past several years, so that has not fallen off in any way. Another highlight of income-wise is that our tipping fees for waste management, and we are way up. I mean, for whatever reason, we got 69,000, 71,000, and then 86,000, which is one of the highest I've ever seen, 86,000 a month for tipping fees. So,
Oh, yay.
yeah, it's doing well.
80-some in a month is extremely rare. Did you need copies, Ron? Okay.
You need an agenda.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got that financial report.
Well, we do have a quorum, and Sheila, you're the vice, so you want to just take the meeting over?
Okay, so we did the treasurer's report and the director's report.
Why don't we go back and do the approval of the
The
minutes?
minutes first, then
Oh,
we're,
because we have a quorum now.
yep, and we're in the middle of the treasurer's report.
We're just
Okay, so we didn't have a quorum. Okay, now we do.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are accepted. And are we going to rehash the treasurer's report since Robert?
Well, if there are any questions, I don't know, Raphael, if you want to ask any questions about it. Murphy put out the color-coded one. Mine's black and white. It's just, I was just going over a couple of the highlights, as we did get our disbursement from the county taxes, which is consistent with what we've gotten over the last few years. We're getting a little bit of extra money from waste management, from the tipping fees, and some of our expenses, especially with the household hazardous waste program, are going up for sure. The curbside charges went up because of fuel surcharges, which is one of the reasons we have to do a resolution to transfer some money, is because the fuel surcharges obviously went through the roof during $5 a gallon time. But they were all within the parameters of the contract, so it is what that was. So that's why we have to shuffle a little bit of money.
Does anybody have any questions on the treasurer's report?
Okay, so looking at our kind of end of any cash balances, I mean, what is our recommended cash balance?
Like a reserve?
Yeah,
You mean
yeah,
the
yeah.
actual,
I mean, at some point, it doesn't happen often, but, you know, if we carry a balance for long enough, I mean, do we think about turning that, or in some way? Do we, give a month amnesty or a portion, I don't know. How we,
Well, the way we collect our fees now is impossible to do a month amnesty.
right,
Because we're on property tax.
that is true.
So what he has of year in December 31st of '22, we will just get another disbursement in December. That's why that looks pretty heavy at that point.
Okay.
So we won't get another one until June. So that money is going to get spent out at $200,000 a month.
Okay.
So that's why the December number always looks a little bit heavier because we just got the second disbursement of the year.
So then what do we anticipate then actual
$2
fund
million.
balance? Okay.
And that's what we've done over the last several years.
Okay.
If things go consistent, which they should, you know. Obviously, the expenses are gonna go up. That's, our budget will reflect expenses.
Yeah. So our tipping fee, increased tipping fee in theory will offset the increase that we've experienced from fuel surcharges and everything, okay.
But
So
as we
that's-
know with tipping fees, we have no, until that check
Right.
comes, we don't even know what it is.
Okay,
Yeah, and where the, when we had all these changes to start 2017, getting the building, going on the tax bill, fee increase and all that kind of thing, we went 11 months, when we stopped billing, we went 11 months with no major influx of revenue. So we were down to the point where we did the thing with the county to borrow, whatever it was, $100,000 is what we did, to make sure, and then that was reduced from the first tax sale.
Okay.
But the, so we were basically down to, we're like, should we shut the lights off, to try to save money? But
the recommendation is we should do nothing with our fund balance at this point.
We
Right.
don't need to increase fees,
Right.
right? We can keep riding.
Okay.
Yeah.
fees keep going up, but we're constantly been absorbing
Yep.
that one and not turning it
That's
up.
fine.
So. And the other expenses, so.
Any other questions for anyone? Going to the director's report, please.
Just quickly, security cameras, the system we originally put in when we got the building, actually, me and Randy Fig did it. Randy Fig did it, I stood there and told him to be careful on the ladder. But we got it ourselves, we installed it. It started having problems. It was also set for 3G, and that's gone, so we were having all kinds of issues. We did get a new one put in by Vermilion. Actually, though, they were able to, they didn't move some of the others that were there that we wanted changed so we could better angles of the property. So we ended up with more cameras installed at no added cost. So that all went well. 2-day process. The roof thing is all done. The inspection, we didn't get anything by Friday. There might be one small closeout bill left that Keel Architects was hounding Slay Tile to close it out. They had till Friday to get Keel the stuff. If anything, it wouldn't be very much at all. So that whole process is done. Just want to let everyone know there were some questions that came up recently about the processing and storage of materials at 5th Street location. Had conversations with Tim Ryan from the city of Mishawaka and also the Mishawaka Fire Marshal. And we met with IDEM out there. They looked everything over. Most of the issues, or any of the issues, once they come up, may have to do with some Mishawaka local ordinance stuff that would have to be dealt with. Nothing to do with the processes we were doing. The only issue out there, and one of the reasons we left there, if you recall, was space to appropriately separate the materials. They weren't necessarily doing that, according to Hoyle. IDEM was out there, and they're going to get us a listing of, like which acid, which chemicals, even though they're in the original container and then in a drum, sealed drum, but they're not supposed to be within so far of each other. That did make us think that, on our end, if we were doing things correctly, I think we, according to IDEM and the fire guy, it seemed like we were pretty darn close. A couple things that we needed to make some adjustments to. Once we get the stuff from IDEM, we will probably, and we get the exact, these things at least 3, 4, 5 feet apart, whatever it is. We may end up having to spend some time kind of rearranging how we do the storage of materials and where within the building, but otherwise, it seemed like we were doing pretty good, including out at Fifth Street too. So anyway, the city is, anything that needs to be done by the agreement, interlocal agreement, is on the city to do it. They own the property. They're responsible for anything out there. So there's that. That was basically the biggest news. Since our last meeting, Prairie View tipping fees, we're running at, right now through, well, we did receive the check in August here. So I added it, 153,000, almost 54,000 over the anticipated amount again this year. So as was mentioned a few minutes ago, that's a nice thing. We never know what we're gonna get, but as long as it's plus, then that's helping keep our fees down and bills paid out of that money. The curbside figures, monthly figures, for May, June, and July, there's nothing that really sticks out. It's still remaining fairly consistent. Some months, one item goes up higher than another type of material or whatever. It just depends on what they get, but nothing out of whack there. The next page should be the combined totals for the HHW program. Between our location and Fifth Street, through July, we had 8,881 vehicles come through. So we're still getting used quite regularly there. And then there's the breakdown of each facility. At Kerr Street, through July, it was 6,200, just over 6,200 vehicles. And at Fifth Street in Mishawaka, which opened April 16th, is for the season, is 2,653. So everybody's on track to be fairly close to last year's numbers, which again, as mentioned previously in other meetings, were the highest year ever.
Where did you get these numbers? Because I see it's, in Mishawaka, it's 435, Canton, where, mine, that.
That's combined. You're on the wrong page.
Which page is it?
Two pages after that.
Mishawaka is
That is the Kerr Street location, not that one, that's combined.
Okay, yeah. So the Fifth Street
That's
location?
Yeah.
Fifth Street, Mishawaka,
Okay.
this is Kerr Street. so-
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know your, I'm sorry, I was just there. Thank you.
So things are going, pretty much the same as they were last year. The biggest issue, as John alluded to, the biggest issue we've had this year is just because of circumstances and things going on, fuel surcharges, contractual fuel surcharges being imposed and ending up at a higher rate than we've ever had before. And we don't always have fuel surcharges. We'll go years without fuel surcharges. Transportation costs have gone up on deliveries and pickups of everything. The cost of materials, supplies, like the steel drums, the plastic drums we need for acids and bleaches and all those things, increased drastically. In fact, we usually get a semi-full of steel drums. I think the highest we ever paid, including transportation, is like $8,000 some dollars, a semi-full. Like that's like 212, whatever it is. This year, there had to be some I had to throw hissy fits and all that, and they finally, well, they said they weren't gonna send them to us, because, we'd never paid that much. I said, well, you never charged that much. The best price we could find, after we were looking it up, took it to the same amount we got the year before for like 8,000 or 9,000, somewhere in there. It was like 23,000 and some, including transportation. The cost of the drums went up over 50%. The plastic drums went up even higher. And the transportation costs were enormous. We're finding that on, or have found it this year on any of our shipments coming in or out in the HHW program. Although now with fuel surcharges going down somewhat, they should start to back off. But that's been the biggest challenge. We had enough in the budget overall. That's why the next thing is transferred for the curbside program, but to get through, the year. But that was something that we had to pay really close attention to, as every single bill seemed to be going higher than it ever was before. So that's pretty much what I have. If there's any questions or.
Thank you.
So we're to old business now.
So on this, on page 2 of old business? This one?
No, he's on the agenda.
Yeah, you're right.
Front page.
Okay,
I don't know if there is no more business.
so we're doing new business.
There's no
Giddy up.
We're going to resolution 2-20, 22 resolution transferring the sum of $2 million from various accounts to various accounts.
200.
200.
2 million.
Okay, nice, Scott. Within the 2022 budget of the Solid Waste Management District of St. Joseph County. Any questions about that?
This is the resolution I was just referring to move $100,000 from the building maintenance fund and $100,000 from the HHW contractual services fund into the curbside pickup fund, in order to, it's a little bit higher than would be anticipated, but we, not by much, to get through the end of the year and pay off the monthly contractual amounts. Basically because, again, of the fuel surcharges that were a lot higher than we ever had before, so.
Okay, we have a motion.
Motion for passage. Second.
Motion for passage is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Resolution 3-2022, resolution of the Solid Waste Management District Board of Directors requests appropriation of monies for the purpose of defraying the expense of the St. Joseph County Solid Waste Management District for fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2023, ending December 31st, 2023, including all outstanding claims, obligations, and fixing a time when same shall be take effect. Reading public. Vote. All right.
This is the 2023 budget request, proposed budget. We have our meeting with the county councils, the preliminary meeting tomorrow night. There are not a whole lot of things on this that change, but I will go through and explain quickly which ones are. There's an explanation sheet. This has been in flux. And also, I will admit to everyone, this has been the hardest budget for me to put together because I'm putting together something I think some things are going to be needed, but I won't be here for it. John has been involved in this quite a bit too, since he will be here. The changes are, and I apologize, usually these are color-coded, but color-printed wouldn't work. Financial coordinator position, that was Randy Figg's position. We kept it in the budget but did not fund it. We're proposing to fund it again at a lower amount. Basically, we tried going for now, what, a year and a half, or whatever it's been, since he retired, with one less body. That has become a real problem on several ends. As an example, with the 6 staff members we have right now, in the last 4 months now of this year, we still have 2.5 months worth of vacation time people have to use before the end of the year. John and I, we were short a staff member for a couple months, actually longer than that. People in the office are working the HHW program, basically full-time some weeks. There's the body thing. But there's also the issue of who took over a lot of Mr. Figg's duties from that position, ended up being John. So John has been basically being paid one salary with one title, but doing 3 things. So we thought we might be able to do it. It hasn't turned out to work well, logistically there. So we're proposing to have that position returned. It may, whoever comes in after me, may decide to come to the board to title it differently or whatever, but we're proposing to have that position refunded. The one change you see is office assistant, that's line 12007. It shows a 19% increase. That's not really true. That is the position, it's been unfilled. That is a position, part-time one, that we transferred money from at the last meeting to finish off bringing the 3 positions up to the amount originally discussed for their pay. Quite honestly, in Google Drive, the only way I could make our budget balance at the end, because I was showing their salaries now in the HHW worker positions, was to show it as a far less salary. It's actually just staying at $16,717. Perf and FICA rates were increased based on the pay, the salaries, which being proposed 3% across the board for the employees there, each position. The HHW supply line, which is 22012 to the side, that's one of the lines that we broke out starting this year. We originally put 50,000 in there, proposing it at 100, be increased to 100,000, just because, as I mentioned, the cost increase on getting the supplies we need to operate. As an example, that 50,000, almost half of it was used just to get the metal drums this year. So proposing that to be increased. The education line down to 5,000, which is closer to what is actually spent. And and also, by the way, Borden, per the contract, pays us $5,000 a year to do education, so that's actually a wash to us. The schedules, proposed to increase those 5,000 because every year that stuff goes up. That does also include postage within that for the mailing of the curbside calendars. Liability insurance, again, 5,000 increase because every year that goes up a little bit. The HHW line item, which is 36015, that line number, proposing that to go up from 465,000 to 500,000. Again, that's contractually based. It's about time with the contract for them to ask for an increase. Usually that is never more than, I don't believe it can be more than 3%. The main one going up is the curbside pickup. That is the payment to Borden. Every year, we contractually, the annual cost increase is capped at 5%. For this year, the increase was 5%. What it looks like is that it will be 5% again next year, the way things are going. So, by all the charts and graphs and all that are used for that. So, so it's increased, the base cost is increased 5%, just to cover that. And also then, we would always in the past put in an extra 70 to 80,000 for fuel surcharges, just in case. We've been in the low 20,000s per month, the last several months. So what we're proposing is, don't know what it's gonna be, but to have it increased to the 2,766,000, which would be an additional, or make the fuel surcharge portion of that budget 240,000 instead of 80, just as an in case. And also the fiscal assistance line being reduced from the 50,000 that was in this year's budget, that's payment to the county, which was not agreed to, but put in the budget last year, back to the 25,000 that was agreed to, because no one came to request anything from the county's end, from the board to.
What is that fiscal assistance?
It pays for the accounting and payroll and paying all the bills and all that stuff that the county does for us now.
So the auditor's office is charging you to,
Well, the county.
Because HR is included to some extent, because the way of the employees take part in HR from an insurance standpoint as well to some extent, and also with offset the treasurer because it goes on the tax bill as well, so just kind of a blanket amount that was agreed upon a few years ago.
and that's 25,000.
All right, do we have a motion?
Can I ask one question here?
Sure.
In Auditor John Murphy's report, it doesn't have a projection, but, you know, this is, do we have revenue? Do we think revenue will be at roughly the 4,300 to match expenditure, or 4.3 million to match expenditures, or are we looking to draw down the reserve?
Well, from the reserve, there's no proposal being thought of at this point with the reserve we have to request a fee increase to cover any of this.
Okay.
And actually, too, to be honest with you, when, at the time of year we're putting this together, we were being hit with everything, big time. So, since I'm not gonna be here, I also thought, at least for a year, make sure things are covered budget-wise. It would come out of the reserve. It would not involve a fee increase or anything else, even if we ever had to spend every penny of this budget.
But the budget is expecting a 300,000 deficit, or what's the difference in projected budget between revenue and expenditures?
Oh, well, we take in between the two.
Yeah,
You said about 2 million, didn't you?
2 million, because we get 2 disbursements per year. So the first one, and that revenue has stayed consistent over the years that we've been on the property tax records, meaning we're not losing anybody in payments like we used to. So, if you're looking at a $4 million budget and you're asking, do we take in $4 million a year, well, the answer is no. So if we do spend the $4 million budget, which we haven't in years,
Yeah,
if we do, it has to come out of reserve. And that's why we have a really solid reserve
I
right
think
now.
the question is, do you anticipate what that difference would be?
Oh, it would probably be about, if we spent the $4 million, we're looking at about 400,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
And-
4.3, right? So is that an additional 300,000?
It's flat $4 million.
No, 4.3.
$4 million revenue.
Oh, 4 million.
That's Murphy's anticipation is the 4,044,000 revenue, based on what we're currently getting from tipping fees, which
Mhm.
I kind of have a problem with because you have no anticipation of what that's going to be. But he's just extrapolating what we're getting this year into next. And so in that case, we're only 300,000 short.
But if we end up with the 3.8, then we're 500,000 short. Okay. Okay.
Do you have a mandate on, I mean, do you have to keep a certain amount in reserve?
It's always just been suggested, I think, like everybody else, at least
There is
20%.
there is no mandate.
But there's no mandate.
There's no statutory requirement.
It says you have to keep this much.
But the target is like 10% of expenditures, or
Pardon me?
what's the target percentage for reserves?
20?
20.
20?
It's 20?
And we're
Yeah, that's,
And
well,
I don't know how many entities are actually at that, but.
That's what we're striving for, sir.
hmm?
That's what we're striving for.
So you have some room.
Any other questions? Motion.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Number C, resolution 4-2022, resolution of the Solid Waste Management District of St. Joe County Board of Directors approving the temporary change of the existing part-time office assistant position to full-time household hazardous waste worker and setting the salary for the same. Any questions for Andy? No questions? Okay, we have a motion.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. On to E, resolution 4-2021 as amended, resolution establishing salaries and fixing the number of employees for the St. Clair County Solid Waste Management District for the year of 2022. Any questions for Randy?
I just want to point out one thing in this. I'm not sure we needed this, but I added it. Since there's no change in the annual salary amount in the salary resolution, the original one did say, note that this was a part-time position. The only thing different is highlighted and noted that it's now full-time through December 31st. That way, just in case they need it, they have it, so.
All right, thank you. Motion?
Motion for passage.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Go to E, letter from the executive director regarding retirement.
Well, I had said this would be really quick. Basically, earlier this year, obviously,
You said very quick.
What's that?
You said it's going to be very quick.
very quick. I had said it'd be by the end of the year, sometime in December. The final date, I talked to Mike, Mr. Triple, a while back, and it was decided I should probably put something in writing at some point, so that's what I did. December 23rd, Friday, December 23rd would be last day. That also means that everything will be paid out on Friday, December 30th, which means that there needs to be no trickiness done in the budget to carry anything over to pay off me while also having a new director. So December 23rd will be the final day.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Triple has that letter?
I do.
Okay, so E. Go to F, discussion and potential vote on filing the executive director position upon retirement. Mr. Triple, do you want to answer that?
Well, it's really up to the discretion of the board. There's no legal requirement for posting the position if you were interested in hiring from within.
Okay.
And I know Mr. Schwellnus has indicated a willingness to consider the position, and he's a highly qualified, experienced individual who would probably fill Randy's shoes very nicely, but that's up to the board discretion. So,
Okay. Any input? President Castaldi?
Well, typically, from a best practice standpoint, we have, would put this position out, but I'm not going to be here, so do whatever you guys want to do. I mean, I'm also, I think just from a transparency standpoint, I think it makes sense to post it. You don't have to interview. If you get one overwhelmingly qualified candidate, then it could be done as simple as that. But that's for this August group to decide.
Okay, any other input?
I would post it.
I would
Just
post it
Yeah.
just for
Yes.
transparency.
Okay.
If nothing else, yes.
Okay.
I think that's a no-brainer.
Now,
Right.
what, since something tells me that's gonna fall to me at some point, what is, how quickly, we should do this quickly if it's gonna be posted. And then
Yep.
where would, who do they go to? How does that get set up for review?
So you could have it run through county HR, so they could put the position description. What I would say is, maybe the leadership of this board look over the existing job description and see if there are any changes that would be necessary to be made. Then they could update that, HR could post it, and then, I don't know if you want to have the full board, you have a small hiring committee made up of the board. I think Raphael should chair that committee, since he's stood up, so.
We're gonna wait for you to leave and then we'll, and then.
Yeah, either way. Yeah, either way.
Yep, I fired too early, it's my fault.
Dangerous to leave now.
That's on me, my bad.
Okay, Mr. Triple will handle the stuff with Kim and any other changes that are there for the job description and
Be able to look it up, put it together, and then present it to them.
I would highly recommend a smaller committee, though, just 'cause it's easier to get together,
okay.
to review that, so it sounds like Mr. Morton's chairing that committee.
Sounds that way.
And then maybe two others that probably be sufficient, so.
So if I can look up, dig out the job description, as, I know that hasn't been changed since,
I guess whoever that committee is gonna be, they might wanna look at the existing job description, see if there are any changes, or if you have any changes that you recommend, realize, well, this is no longer accurate as to what my responsibilities are.
and then get that to, how about, you're the two officers, and you're the, I'll send it to you guys, and then you can do
Okay.
what you,
Cool.
I'll look that up.
Zoom, any public comments?
We are Zoomless.
Motion to adjourn.
So move, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Big bash, coming up Friday.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
waive the cover charge.
You know it. You know it. At Corby's.
Andy's,
I'm at Corby's.
Right.
That's where pretty much all my family events, functions take place.
He's looking for some Prairie shampoo and any Old Spice products.
Krell, that's
Old school,
that's been a
baby.
minute. That's been a minute. Sweet.
Take care. When do you start, doing the deals you
The Tuesday
Take care.
after Labor Day.
We got them all back?
See you all, take care, man.
See you, Mike.
See ya, good luck.
Enjoy God's country.
Absolutely.
What, I'm sorry, you said,
This is the day I applied.
oh,
Yeah, so I'm taking my last day in Robinson is the 31st. So I'm taking two days off.
the,
Mayor, how's
Good
everything?
Friday afternoon. so.
Good.
There's something up on.
It was a good turnout this year because of all the state offices and things, so it was good. And I didn't drink. Very good. I'm not exhausted, you know. Yeah, exactly, so.
Randy?
Kind of stop along the way.
Yeah, a little briefcase.
Yeah, we had a meeting upstairs. Lighten your eyes and zoom better.
I'm not walking in that.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
But I did.
Bye, Andy, take care.
See you,
But you have 5.
We were on the legislative agenda. And the mayor and the commissioner.
That's not a good sign.
There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
Just like.
But anyway, good luck, Andy. What's so,
I think that's enough with the work. That's enough. You should have one. Yeah, well.
I mean, I'll still, I'll be involved.
It's actually that other person.
There's always this episode. Yeah, I mean, it's so it's not just kind of bored, but also. Oh, yes, yeah. Fade out, you can lose me.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna, well, that's crazy.
but I mean,
Then you never know when they're gonna show up.
Yeah.
You can never count on them.
so that's why I'm doing it. I asked that.
Reverse back to the department position. Just so.
Yep. In person, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you guys, like,
Yeah.
I would see, yeah, I'm not gonna put it, it's just.
Next, SRD, that's it.
When you guys.
You may have to.
It sounded like.
Right here.
Just a few minutes.
Jason Bourne, you have 2 phones now, we have 3 phones.
Oh, yeah, there was no Sesame. Sorry, when I think of Sesame, I think of Sesame. Huh. That's weird, I mean, I haven't seen, the audit was very strange because, I mean, I don't know what else, I don't know, but like, what was weird was other partners, like, all these teams in town to do the audit. We didn't know they were supposed to pay that. They canceled the meeting, like, all the other partners, our city. And then it led to like, and was disappointed that I started off at lunch to the other. And it's because she wrote message, because then Steve wrote, said, you can write that.
Definitely.
Because we're like, this is, how can we do an assessment of your report this way in the report? And then it goes, not yet. So, we're not, no one's happy. The partner, the national network, out of New York, but they were supposed to come in, you know, those wanted to come in to look at every part of our strategy, see what's working, what needs to be done. They didn't even bother, like, we will unilaterally cancel stakeholder meetings with them. So anyway, so the person who made paper was happy with the road. No one was happy with the road. So I haven't seen it. So anything that can't be seen is just, it seems like it's just something that's. But just, all I'm saying is, it's just, we did some those ordinance stuff. Which is not, I mean, we did, it was, but I'm taking it back.
I'm getting ready to head out.
I actually have my phone in this car, so we'll help you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't want to interrupt, good. So,
We're starting out, now we're trying to create,
that's how you talk about the deals, eh?
that's all I'm gonna talk about, I'm not talking about yet.
Yeah.
I'll write them, pass the cards to us, that's all I'll be talking about. That's, I always had, I mentioned this to Jim, like, pretty much once a man at Perry. We had him, we had Jim, we had Blast, we had the man at Perry. Those were all three people who would report the news.
Yeah, no,
They were gone.
I knew there was an issue with that, one, because all the key stakeholders in the group,
That's,
also, so, including the person paying. I saw Rose and Eddie, I was like, not yet, let's give it this. You remind me of this again? And then Rose said, nobody yet.
Different jobs, different things.
I don't think it's gonna be, it's not gonna be, because they haven't done the full site. I think Rose would argue that they didn't fulfill their site visit for the other project.
But I don't think I'm screwed up. You don't even know the numbers, right? I gave them
Yeah,
to
well,
you.
now, when Ramona left,
he was,
I
he
think
was,
we
he
established,
was by
this
far.
was an addition to the site.
Imagine
We
he
haven't
had
had
there.
this safety. Then when Ramona
That was
left, we
his
moved
complaint.
the coordinator outside of the city to Goodwill. Yeah, so we created the GBI office in Goodwill with the contract. And that was what everyone wanted to do. Save is part of it, but it's only one area. Save is like the social service side of GBI. GBI also encompasses like the law enforcement and the other side.
So people that report as far as like people doing stuff, we just have to say that people. At this point, it's not a decision. Procedure. Exactly.
There's a core group.
So like, for instance, who is
I agree. And this Goodwill storyboard, they both, because they're in Goodwill, they sort of have so it's Goodwill.
I see, thank you guys.
Yep, 580.
So the core. Right, bud. So that's got like, when, and then it's got our police, it's got the prosecutor, it's got the US, the federal law enforcement. folks, and then- Isaac's up to something. I mean, the fact that they canceled the meetings with all the other program members, like he's using this assessment to drive whatever, I don't know. There's some funny business there, so we'll see how it all unfolds.
So when I called, she was Saturday, she was going to come over and, she was, well, Isaac just got his. So we can you know,
Yeah.
that she, I was on the consent, we had those discussions about what that conversation was.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of, well, anyway, all I'm saying is there are lots of concerns what's going on right now, from all the stakeholders. Rose was gonna look at it about one. There's something weird going on. Save can't.
See you both.
Bye, take care.
The GBI office, but Save is basically the equivalent. I mean, there's no other organization that's gonna do the social services.
So that's where I'm not, that's where I was a little confused on who would have to do it. Someone's gonna say, has to do it, well, who would
know, and I mean, on this, like, core group, like, you're not gonna do the, that's what I'm saying, I don't know what, how Isaac thinks icing out the rest of the core group is gonna go for. It's like, we,
That's interesting.
like, I don't know.
So you didn't say anything to that?
No, of course not. I'm just saying, you know, people aren't happy with how the assessment is being done, so.
So how are you supposed to be able to get input for everybody if you're not really?
Yeah, he seems to be going a little rogue. For sure, yeah. For sure, yeah, and he brings it, I mean, yeah, I've seen that for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think the key here is that it's just been.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I try to stay out of it. I mean, I know what's happening. I've asked a couple of people, like, what do you think's going on? I'm like, no one knows. I'm like, I don't know, like, they used to be like this.
They want to have an expectation to, you know how it is, just like when you change management styles. For sure.
Yeah.
You're not going to always be yourself to change.
Right.
And I think the next shift that we made, there was, you know, loss of control.
Yeah, I think that's probably, didn't happen around the time I was doing TV recording. Yeah, well, it's crazy. He's just causing trouble. That's what I'm saying. He's just causing trouble all around. It's like, I know he's probably burned out too. I mean, I get it. It's just like, these people just need to figure out how to calm down and get back to doing the work, not stop politicking around it. It's just like, let's figure this out. You don't need to go around, politicking with everyone. We just need someone to figure this out. If they not, less drama the better. Figure this out, less drama the better. Yeah. Proactive,
Yeah, I guess I expected more than what I see,
yeah, for sure.
but I don't know because I don't know.
I mean, that's what I mean, Chief has shared some of that. It's not as, some of the SAVE team members aren't as proactive with doing stuff. You know, that just takes some management. I mean, that's natural, right? Either they don't feel comfortable doing it, they don't, you know, there's something there that's not quite right.
Well, for example, I asked them about Chicago.
Engagement. Yeah.
Isaac went back, and he, when he did that, he was like, I'll do some engagement
You gotta figure out,
I mean, what could take it?
well, you have to postpone it if you don't have a forum. You gotta figure out, yeah, how much online satisfies.
Chapter 2 comes up for the first reading.
Yeah, that's great. Have you heard from our friends?
Who's that?
Two friends.